So I've been meaning to do this for a while, but there's not a lot of educational, informational content on Splatoon that is like easily spreadable, like very informative. I know Pika Dave has been doing a lot of it recently, and the Boys That Deserve have been trying to make more of that, but I also wanted to throw my head into the ring, try and just get some of this content out. Just kind of, I'm kind of inspired by Gotham Chess, Wolfie VGC, and to just throw myself out there. So these are 5 tips. My name is Magic Apple. These are 5 tips to improve your Splatoon gameplay of any level, hopefully. Most competitive players will be doing 1 or 2 of these things already in most of their games. Hopefully all of them are doing warm-ups, but definitely as someone who isn't in the competitive circuit, this is going to be very informational, and I firmly believe that anyone can follow these tips and instantly improve their gameplay. I've got some videos prepared for you here, and I just want to go through them and point a couple of things out. I'll be like pausing and where's the wait. I can't go full screen. Noted. Let's go through this. So, the first tip that I have of you is something that you probably didn't even notice. But it's the entire reason that I was able to go towards that E-leader instantly, right off the bat, and go for zone. Because I looked at my map right here. Literally, split second. But you can get so much information out of the map at any point while you're looking at the map in a match. Generally, one of the most often times you're going to do it is at the beginning of the match, because it's so easy to see the paint lines and where it's going at a split second. Like, you can see these lines, indicative of a charger completely. You can also see some sporadic painting going on over here, and that's usually like an end zap or an arm, or like a junior trying to paint up really quickly for an armor or an early special. But the other thing you're going to be able to notice is that there is not a lot of paint in certain areas. And because I'm starting on the right side here, I'm especially looking down here, or if this trail breaks off to jump down here. And that would indicate that somebody's going to be coming up here, and I need to fight this immediately, and I can't go to zone. But there's no ink there, so I'm able to use that information, contest this charger, and get a really good opening out of it, as we'll see the rest of the play continue. Now, obviously, there's a lot of situations where you're going to be able to look at your map if you're just like sharking somewhere, or if there's like a brief moment in the match where you're just kind of mindlessly painting. You're going to want to be looking at your map as often as you can. And you'll see that I'm able to get this trade here, which is kind of important, but kind of not, since I'm the armor player. That's the first example I have at this point. The second one is in this example, and it's literally like split second, and you can get so much information. Like, it's so hard to even like stop on the map when I'm trying to show it. But there's a lot of important information here. Why is it automatically going into freaking full screen? First of all is that I'm going to have to be looking towards Spinner to, like, because I'm assuming that somebody's about to jump across through mid and attack all of us, which are going directly bunched up into the right side of zone here. And that's going to be really important if we're going to want to win this initial fight. The other important thing is that there's a ton of paint coming around here. And that's usually indicative of probably the junior trying to farm up for bubbles really quickly, and just generally saying that, you know, they're not fully committing to this right side early. You know, there's a lot of open area here that we could probably fight in if we wanted to swing around, or if we just wanted to go to zone immediately. And because of that, there's nobody down here. There's no paint here. So I do not have to look here. Let me clear. I do not have to look here at all. I'm going to be able to focus my fire in this general area and try and focus on this part of the map to gain control early. So, as you see it play out, it didn't really turn out that way, but the general principles are still the same. You know, I see the Zaduli pop up instantly, and now the junior finally travels through the right side, which is a good play on his part. But we were able to fight for this super early, and if you know, a couple of things had gone differently if we were able to take that zone fight early, like maybe a little bit earlier. This wasn't solo queue. This wasn't in a competitive situation. It would have ended up a lot differently. So that's my first point. Open up your map, even if you're just sharking somewhere, even if you're mindlessly painting, and especially at the beginning of the game, open up your map, because that is so much information that a lot of players just don't get. The second thing I want to bring up is actually focusing on different decision making in the game. And you'll see that some of the titles are indicative of the points I'm trying to make. But this one especially is like super, super classic. Splats do not win games. Right now, in this match, in Tower Control Manta Maria, we have a man advantage. And we have the best team composition in the world currently. But the enemy team is still pushing, right? And of course, you know, as I say that, one goes down, they're in actually a really good spot to push. Even if you have one down, you can push very easily. And what I was focused on was focusing on this man advantage. I was like, okay, I see this Hydra is in a really bad position. I'm just gonna go for him. What could possibly go wrong? My two teammates are still up trying to fight this tower. I'm just gonna go for this kill. We go 3 down. And that is super, super bad. Super bad. Especially because a junior cannot fight. It can throw some bombs, sure, but I mean, it's gonna go down if it gets overwhelmed, which it does. Shouts to K-Bot. And because of this, because of that one greedy kill, this game could have ended up so much more differently. And, you know, I'm pretty sure we did go on to lose this game, but I think the point still stands. It puts us in a really bad position. And what I have to realize here is that this splat, while it is helpful, does not matter if A, I cannot get it off cleanly and without overextending, and B, if there's more important kills that I should be going for. And right now, my two options are going here or diverting in some fashion or manner from a safe position and attacking tower, which is what my team is also focused on. Sure, we're still going to be getting fire from this Hydra, but right now the objective is moving forward and there's nobody here to stop it. If we back up just a couple seconds, all of my team is either on this right side, like there's nobody in front of tower. Nobody's in this area right here. Like, yes, there's one person up top right, but they have free range of our street if I go down. And that's super important, because that's where the tower is going to be going. And if we don't have control of where the tower is going to go, even if I get this kill cleanly, it's a 2v2, and Inkbrush versus Inkbrush Jr. versus a NZAP Nautilus is not going to win any day of the week. And it's decision making like that that you really need to be mindful of. And essentially, the important thing here is to, you know, make smarter decisions when you're deciding which enemy you want to pick off. And this one is really, really, really indicative of why you do not go for kills and you go for objective. Because right now, I have one clan. And I'm thinking, alright, well, I'm going to stop this junior from going to the basket, killing my team, and killing this push. Even though they're already one down, and I have a free lane with some clams to go to this basket and dunk. But instead I agreed for this kill. We ended up needing 2 clams. 2. Which I could have easily gotten. Actually, in the end we actually ended up only needing 1. That one clam that I held on to, even if those clams weren't there, that would have won us the game. But instead, I shark for this kill, being like, oh, alright, we have a 40-point lead and they have a 10-point penalty. There's no way we lose this, right? 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 So I agreed for kills 2 separate times, and it ended up losing us the game. most important thing I'm going to tell you probably in this game, in this video, do not go for splats if the objective is right there. Just don't go for splats. Splats don't win you games if there's an objective that needs to be taken care of. Another important thing that I especially don't see casual... I don't want to call them casuals. Can we start calling them non-competitive players? Like, I don't know. Casual just feels so derogatory at this point. You know what I mean? It's just like... Why have that divide? Like, you know, they still want to get good at the game, right? I mean, that's probably why you're watching this video. Anyways, you're going to see me doing a bunch of different things in this video, and just in the training room. You're going to see me doing a bunch of different dodge rolls, different movements, and I'm practicing all the different scenarios I'm going to be in when I'm going to be playing in the game. I'm going to be dodge rolling one way, I'm going to be dodge rolling the other way. I'm going to be standing shooting, maybe painting, find someone, and then have to adjust and roll and kill them. I'm going to have to do double rolls. I'm going to have to be rolling in a sort of diagonal direction sometimes. And it's these kinds of movements that you really need to practice, especially if you're playing something like dualies. You need to practice tracking while you're dodge rolling, so that when you're done rolling, you're right on line, ready to shoot. And it's different kinds of things like that. It's combining that movement to practice training your aim, so that while you're moving in the game, you're also going to be effectively aiming. And so it doesn't matter, like, it kind of matters what you're doing, but if what you're doing is working for you and you're practicing just shooting these enemies down and aiming quickly, then it's going to be fine. But you need to figure out something to do for 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes before you actually start playing. It's going to improve your gameplay so much because, I mean, in 5 minutes, you're probably going to kill 100 dummies. And in 5-minute games, you're probably going to have 30-ish interactions. So doing this practice is going to give you 3 games worth of practicing aiming before you even get into a game. So please, just use the training room. Just use it. My 4th point is very important as well. A lot of newer players I've seen fall into this, and it's wasting specials. Specials are the most important part to pushing in this game, to making effective plays on the objective. And if you make a special, if you use a special at the wrong time, you're not going to be able to push as effectively. This push is going to end when it could have been so much more effective had I not used that inkjet earlier when it was like, you know, 2 or 3 down. And if I had used it right here instead. Like, imagine I have an inkjet right here, and I'm able to catch this guy going up the wall. I'm able to catch the fight going on top left, and we get this push, and it's probably a clean knockout. And obviously this isn't the most extreme example, but I'm going to show you some extreme examples. Right here. This is prime. I'm like, alright, there's 30 seconds left. We have one down. We're kind of in a bad spot. I need to get some specials and get us out of this situation, right? So I'm painting, and I just pop it instantly. That's when my charger goes down, and that's when a bomb comes right over the wall and we get collapsed on. Spamming in specials and using them, especially when you don't have a man advantage or when you're not fully set to use those specials, is going to leave you in such bad positions. Imagine if I had jumped out and used my missiles here, and like really paused the push and given us a half-decent chance probably at getting a counter push, but instead I just threw out those specials and completely wasted them. And there's one more example that I have for this. That right here. Do not use specials if you are about to die. Don't just even if the one thing that I did in that last clip that was actually half decent was that I held on to the missiles. You know, you saw me walking around, so I died with them, so that it wasn't used up when I died. Because instead of having 0 meter when I die, I would have half. But so many new players fall into this trap of thinking, all right, I need to get this special down. Maybe I can make a play. Maybe I can do something. But just, no. No. That is never the right play to do. It is never the right play. Because look at where this rain is going. It's up all the way over here on their side of the map when they're starting to push in towards you because you died. It's never effective. Like, the only times that I can really see like a half-decent usage of like before you die specials is with armor. If you're giving it to someone and then you die because you're in a bad spot, but they go on to end up making a really good push. But that's in like very, very specific circumstances. Don't waste your special, because here I could at least like charge this special, get some chip on this inkjet before he got up there, and probably killed him, and I definitely would have been able to do a better job at stopping this push. Specials are so important in this game, and they need to not be wasted. Now, it's not to say you should hang on to specials forever. There's a fine balance that you have to like go between, but never, and I mean this, never do what I just did. Never throw out that special before you die. Just don't do it. Having half a meter is going to be better than having 0. Every single time. The last thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that I'm sure many players will disagree with me on, is to use your comfort picks. Use your best weapons. Use the weapons that you know the most and that you know fit your playstyle. Having weapons that you've been around the block with, even if they're not the strongest in the current meta, are going to do you wonders, especially if you're just trying to climb the ranks, especially if you're just playing in solo queue. You want to know your weapon, because if you know your weapon, you're going to be able to do things like this. I trap my enemy, even though he has armor, so I chip his armor, trap him in ink because of the explosion from the burst bomb, and then I pounce with quick movement and understanding how my weapon fights, and I'm able to maneuver around his shots, get the kill, and open up this push really widely. And it's things like that that you're only going to be able to do if you have 500,000 to 1 million ink on a weapon. Especially here. I get the splashdown off, and I'm like, alright, I know the damage values. That guy probably only got hit with a really, really low damage value from that splashdown, so I'm probably going to have to throw 1 or 2 burst bombs, and I'm going to be able to clean up this kill. And because of that, we ended up getting a really good push off, and of course I go up to try and spawn camp and die, but it's knowing your weapon and understanding that I know how these combinations work with each other, because even different variations, like my Tentatek is not as strong as my vanilla splatter shot, even though splashdown is probably the worst special in the game at this point. Using that burst bomb in combination with the splashdown and with the mobility opportunities of the splatter shot are just so ingrained in my playstyle at this point that that weapon just clicks with me like no other. And doing that, especially in a bunch of different situations, you're going to be able to outplay your opponent in those situations if you're playing a weapon that you know how to outplay with. If somebody has never used the splatter shot before and was just tossing burst bombs around, kind of trying to take different fights with only their main weapon, not really knowing what angles to hold, not really knowing the distance, it's not going to work out the same way. And you'll definitely see it in this next clip I'm about to show you. Right here, I take this fight, and I pre-fire this angle, knowing that this splatter shot is going to be able to take whatever's on the other side of it. Because I was pre-firing it, because I held the right angle, because I just knew the weapon, knew that I would be able to get that kill. And it's different ideals like that that you're going to be able to effectively use your weapon to just manage and properly transfer different opportunities in playmaking that you're going to be able to do. Like right here, as soon as that bubbles went out, I was trying to paint and get this splashdown. Because I knew that this squeezer was going to do a bubble trick on me. And so I instantly popped splashdown, knowing that splashdown is going to be really good against these bubbles and to turn the tide in our favor. And it's one of those things where if you want to be countering other specials, having something like Splashdown is a fantastic option. But you have to know that. You have to have that knowledge beforehand. And finding weapons that coincide with your own playstyle, like the splatter shot here. I enjoy quick movement. I enjoy having the burst bomb to paint my feet instantly, give me a lot of mobility. I enjoy having a splashdown to completely 180 fights and cancel other people's specials. It's probably my favorite weapon in the game. But I can't use it in most situations. But I really think that if I did, especially in solo queue, I would be tearing through people, right? It's just some food for thought, and especially to competitive players. Using the weapons that you know your way around is so much more important than using a foil squeezer when you've only had like 50 games on it. Because now I'm going to be able to do what I do best, and I'm going to not die. Even though there's nobody really trying to hold this basket, this junior is doing a really good job at protecting the plat and stopping my teammate from pushing up with the clam. But as a splatter shot, I know that I'm able to maneuver through enemy ink really quickly, and I'm able to dunk super easily, and I know that I can get out. I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to get out of this, maybe try and go back in, get a few more clams in. Because that's what I do, because that's part of my playstyle. And having a weapon that's able to support that is really important. Having the burst bomb, having the really quick shots and quick aim, and being able to paint your feet well with a weapon is super important to me. So I use Splatter Shot. It's my favorite weapon in the game. Overall though, I mean, that's everything that I have. If you find this video helpful, please do leave a like, please do subscribe. Really appreciate everyone's support. I can't think of anything else to say. So, until next time, deuces, dudes. Go watch me on Twitch.